common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
As we are looking towards the big election, there's another candidate beyond Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Also, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And joining us now is the one and only Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert, it's so great to have you here on Katz and Cosby. I want to bring in, because you're in the middle, I think the trial just wrapped up, but it's a trial. They were essentially, the Democratic National Committee was trying to kick you off the ballot in New York. Explain this and also how this has ended up.
Yeah, I mean, the argument is that I'm not a New Yorker, but let me explain to you what happened, Rita. We were required to get 47,000 signatures in 45 days in New York to get on the ballot, and that's something that a law that was passed by the Democrats to make sure that nobody could do it, that it was insurmountable. We got over 150,000 signatures, so there's 150,000 people in this state, voters, who said that they wanted me on the ballot. We had got 1 million signatures nationwide in all 50 states, and those Americans want me on the ballot. The DNC is trying to block those people and others from being able to cast their vote for me. So they sued me, saying that I had lied about being a New York citizen. So I've been a New Yorker since 1964, since my dad ran for Senate here. And by the way, they called him a carpetbagger and said he wasn't a New Yorker. I voted in this state my whole life. I've never voted anywhere else. My driver's license is from the state. My car is registered in the state. My law practice and my law office are in the state. My law license is in the state. I'm not a registered attorney in California. I moved out to California in 2014 to move with Cheryl. But the key is, when they evaluate domicile, they ask for two things. Where do you vote and where do you intend to return to? And my plan and Cheryl's plan has always been to return here when her acting career is over. So we consulted the best attorney in the country, a guy called Paul Ross. He's the best ballot access attorney. It's all he does. He's world famous. And I said, I have three residences: my New York residence, my California residence, and I have a house up on the Cape. And he said, where do you vote and where do you intend to return to? I said, New York. And he said, the DNC is going to sue you no matter what. The only place that you can claim is New York. Why is that? Because what you put on the New York petition has to be consistent. It has to be the same domicile that you put on every other petition in 50 states. And there are many states, for example, New Hampshire, where your domicile is where you vote. In fact, you have to, and I had to take an oath saying that my domicile was in New York because I voted in New York.
So, Robert, let me ask you, Robert, how did it end up? Like, where is it going now with the case? Because you make a great point with your history here of New York.
Right. And they, and we don't know. I mean, clearly we won the case. My attorney came in there and testified as to what he had told me. And he said, look, you're going to be in front of the same judge in no matter what happens. If you say California, if you say Massachusetts, if you say New York, the proper thing to say is New York. And I took his advice and I put down New York. So, we know that the courts in New York have been politicized. I'm hoping that we get a fair judgment from this judge. We'll see in the next couple of days.
And let me ask you, Robert, real quick, is this sort of par for the course? Because this comes as the Democrats seem to want to block you. I should say the Kamala Harris Biden White House seem to want to block you at every turn. I mean, they weren't giving you Secret Service protection for the longest time. They're trying to kick you off the ballots. They're trying to say you're not a New York resident. Does this just feel like another sort of attack to keep a bona fide, well-qualified candidate off the ballot?
Yeah, and this the Democratic Party, I think, would be unrecognizable to my father, to my uncle. Their Democratic Party was fighting for voting rights for people in every state, and every American could vote for the individual that they wanted to vote for. And they fought very hard, side by side with Martin Luther King, to make sure that nobody could deny voting rights to American citizens. And the Democratic Party today, its function is it's spending hundreds of millions of dollars not promoting its candidates or talking about their records, but rather trying to deny ballot access using lawfare, using the law courts to deny ballot access to candidates. Kamala Harris and President Biden a couple months ago were denigrating Vladimir Putin because he won 88% of the vote in his election in Russia. And they said the only way he did that is because he controlled the press and because he wouldn't let his opponents run. Well, the same thing is happening here, but it's the DNC that's doing it. I heard President Trump a lot more in the polls. 57% of my voters say that if I leave the race, they're going to vote for President Trump. So President Trump has a lot more to lose from my presence in the race, but he does not spend money trying to attack me. It's very strange to me.
Mr. Kennedy, how is the Secret Service protection? Do you have enough right now?
Oh yeah, I've got more. I've got an overabundance right now. Thanks for asking.
I am so glad because we want you to be okay. And Ed Cox, you want to ask a question,
Mr. Kennedy? I have no doubt that you are a New Yorker. Anyone who on the spot knows the laws with respect to the fact that you can pick up a dead bear on the road and take it home to you and put the meat. That means you are a New Yorker.
Yeah, well, you can get it in New York State. You're allowed to pick up a dead bear as long as you get a bear tag within 24 hours. And yeah, I do know those laws.
Well, Robert Kennedy, what else would you like to tell? We got about 2 minutes left. What else would you like to tell all Americans?
Yeah, I'm going to be on every ballot now in every state. We've got signatures now. We've done something everybody said we couldn't do. We've got more signatures than any presidential candidate in history. And after Ross Perot did this, they changed the rules to make sure that nobody could ever do it again, could run as independent. And we've managed to do something that no candidate in history has been able to do. And
are they going to include you? Are they going to include you in the debates? I understand they agreed on one debate on September 10th already.
I think they are going to try to do everything to keep me out. So we'll see what happens.
Understood.
Wow. Well, Robert, thank you so much. It's really great to have you here. Keep us posted on New York, and we all agree you're a New Yorker, and we're also glad that you're protected, too. And you have a right to get out there and campaign, and everybody has a right to hear your message. So thank you. You're welcome here on the show anytime.
Thanks so much, Rita. Thanks, Sean. Ed, good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you.